in Seattle touring the new Link Light Rail line that just opened up in July. It's about 15.5 miles long. It's got 13 stations, $2.4 billion project that's been about 40 years in the making.
It's a long time coming, but I'm really happy it's finally here. I actually moved to be closer to the light rail in anticipation of it opening. What separates Sound Transit Link from other American light rail systems is the quality of the grade separation. There are significant stretches of Link that are in tunnels or elevated so that you actually get higher operating speeds that you might see in, say, Portland.
So far, things have been going really well for us. We've been hit, just like everybody else, with some of the down economy, but our ridership is about 15,500 on weekdays, which is just below what we thought it would be by the end of 2009.
Our voters in this region in November 2008 by 57% voted to expand our light rail system and our commuter rail system and buses. So we have a long-range plan, and then we now have a voter-approved funded plan to add another 36 miles of light rail in the region.
Part of the main planning for this whole line is designing better ways to get to and from the stations than driving your car. We don't have parking at any of our stations in Seattle, so we've designed it and worked with the city on access to the stations and also working with the bus lines on having better bus access.
Most of Seattle is car-oriented with buildings with large parking lots, especially out in the suburbs, and better lane use that it makes things more walkable and makes transit more accessible.
We've got to show people you can get on a train or a bus and it's stress-free. You can multitask, in ways that you can't as you drive. And I just think the connection is ease of use and reliability.
I'm a big fan of the frequency. Starting at 7.5 minutes on a new line is great. Everybody I meet who has tried it is surprised at how much more they liked it than they thought they would. People here really haven't had this experience. They've been riding buses for their whole lives, and this is kind of a game changer.
Bike access to all of our stations was an important part of the planning. We've got bike parking, whether that's racks, all the racks are covered, or it's bike lockers at our stations.
If you look at Sound Transit, our regional transportation authorities, there's biking and walking is in that culture. It's embedded in it.
Sound Transit, when they were doing their light rail, reached out to us. We feed into the process and we give design recommendations. We work on policy.
Policy-wise, you can put 4 bikes on each car. Every train has 2 cars. So we've got hooks for 2 bikes on each car, then you can stand with 2 more bikes.
But I think it was fundamental to have the bicycling community involved in these decisions, and people that are out there every day that use the system and are able to speak for and can really say what the concerns are and what the needs are.
What we've seen so far is just the beginning here in Seattle. This is the downtown Seattle bus tunnel. We've got a line under construction now that'll go from here to Capitol Hill and University of Washington. 3 miles worth of tunnel that'll add about 100,000 riders with train service that'll run basically every 3 minutes once we get that line up and running.
We hope to be in continual construction of multimodal transit service in this region for the next 30 years if possible. So we've got a public here that really has embraced transit.
Artwork really makes stations accessible. It's the right thing to do in these types of major works. When we build mass transit systems, we're building stations in people's backyards, in the places where that they go, where their businesses are. And it really is up to us to make sure that the stations are welcoming, that they're beautiful,